Hello from Paris City Hall. I'm Matthew Campbell, Chief Business Correspondent at Bloomberg. I have with me Martin Haese, the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, fifth largest city in Australia, capital of the state of South Australia, and a city and state that has been doing a great deal on renewable energy. You told me just a moment ago, South Australia is now at 41% renewables in its energy mix, which is a pretty astonishing figure, actually, and looking to do more. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Matt, thank you, and it's wonderful to be here at Paris and the COP21. South Australia actually has some profound runs on the board when it comes to energy efficiency, policy and sustainability. Yes, the state is at 41% renewable energy, primarily wind and solar, and we're looking to do more. The City of Adelaide, of which I am the Lord Mayor, is, as of only 3 weeks ago, now has an openly stated goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2025. And the Premier of South Australia, Jay Weatherill, last week came out and announced that he'd like to see the state of South Australia, which is a very large landmass, achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. We've got some shared goals, and I take some great pride in saying that we are achieving some very solid results.
Now, I'm interested in this theme of working together with your state government, because certainly in the US, there are these legendary conflicts between Chicago and Illinois, or New York City and New York State, going back years and years and years. You seem to have avoided that pitfall. How have you managed to do that, and what lessons do you think there might be for other cities and the regions to which they belong?
The pivotal turning point for us, Matt, was in March this year, when, on behalf of the City of Adelaide, I signed the Compact of Mayors. We were one of the first 100 cities to do so. At exactly the same time, the state signed the Compact of States and Regions. So we in Australia were the first state or territory to effectively to co-sign two UN instruments around climate change.
In an aligned way.
In an aligned way. And I think in many ways that was a tipping point for our city and tipping point for our state. I'm a firm believer that in matters such as climate, adaptation, sustainability, that we need to rise above the politics of the day. This matter, of course, is larger than us individually. That's precisely what we're doing. We now craft policy. We fund incentives for our commercial and our residential ratepayers together with the state and with the city. We have a very strong working relationship with the Minister for the Environment, Ian Hunter. I have a very strong relationship with the Premier of South Australia, Jay Weatherill. We have shared goals, and truth be told, that is the only way we are going to achieve them. If that we work together to achieve what is arguably the greatest challenge of our time, we will be able to make solid progress. And certainly in 2015, that conversation has accelerated. We are making regular announcements around tangible outcomes, with many more to come. But we certainly are heading in a very sustainable way and on good stead.
And South Australia and Adelaide have managed to make this progress in the context of a national environment in Australia that has been certainly challenging around climate change. You know, large coal exporter. Certainly the Prime Minister until recently was not a fan of gatherings like this. How did that make your job more difficult, and how were you able to overcome that?
The national conversation in Australia, I would suggest in recent months, is changing. It's changing relatively rapidly. We have always worked at a local level, very closely with our residential rate base. We've worked very closely with our commercial rate base around the benefits of energy efficiency, whether that's a cost-saving discussion or whether that's an environmental discussion. In many ways, it's the same discussion.
In a hot, dry place,
yes.
Of course.
And we are unique in as far as our wonderful city is surrounded by almost 1,000 hectares of parks. And so South Australians, I think, understand climate. I think they understand greening. I think they understand sustainability. That's why in the last decade we've adopted renewables at such a profound rate compared to any other state or territory. So we certainly have a very strong working relationship between the city and the state government. Now what's changed positively is that we have a Minister for Cities. Minister Jamie Briggs in Canberra is the Federal Minister for Cities. Australia has never had a Federal Minister for Cities
Indeed.
before. And again, that's quite pivotal. So we can now have conversations with the Minister and directly with the Prime Minister with regard to what South Australia is doing and how we can share that goal together.
Well, we have to end it there, but I'd like to thank Martin Haese, Lord Mayor of Adelaide, very much for his participation, and we will be back to you with more soon here from Paris City Hall.